All right. Thanks again for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. Do us a favor, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the bell for notifications, and of course, upvote the video itself. We'd appreciate it very much. In this week's segment of What You Talking About, Willis, we talk about how the next 2 months, like May 17th, May 20th, until that point, is the most important period in athletics, in Ole Miss athletics history. And let me explain. With Chris Beard coming on in the transfer portal will close about that time. So roster construction will be paramount for the basketball program. So much of what is going on right now will determine what Chris Beard is able to do in the fall. So much of that. And you need that hope. You need that performance. You need things that you can show to people exactly what's going to happen. It will increase the athletic department by basically installing hope that the football program already has. Football with Jackson Dart, biggest spring of his life. So much to talk about. So much to do. If you go back to the first segment, we talked about exactly why this is so big for Jackson Dart and why this is such a major spring. We're not even talking about what Spencer Sanders can do or what Walker Howard can do, just for Jackson Dart. But whenever you add in Spencer Sanders, when you add in Walker Howard, the spring even becomes more massive at the quarterback position for Ole Miss football, which, as we've talked about the whole time we've been on the air, how important football is to the Ole Miss fan base. Now, you also have a 2-month period with Ole Miss baseball. It's going to be absolutely huge. They got swept over the weekend at Vanderbilt. Now they come home to play the Florida Gators, another top 10 team. Now, the D1 rankings are going to come out sometime today. This is going to change if you look down below. Ole Miss is not going to be number 3, and Florida's not going to be number 5. But tomorrow it could be different, but right now it's a top 5 matchup. It just is. And if you look at all that, Coach Yo, this is going recording before she played Stanford on Sunday night. So I don't know the result of that. But depending on what she does and how she builds it going forward, what's going on right now is absolutely massive for Ole Miss women's basketball. Just is. We're going to have to get Brantley on the show to talk about exactly what it means for women's basketball moving forward. All of these things in these big 4 sports, and we'll just call them big 4 for that, mean so much, and so much is at stake over the next 2 months, to where the academic year for 2023-2024 becomes massive. This is all building towards that year. And that year, it is important for all of these sports to maximize exactly what they're going to do. It is not the time to be in a rut in any sport. You need to be at a position after 2023 or after the 2023-24 athletic season to be able to make a move in 2024 or 2025, because that is when Texas and Oklahoma comes in the SEC. That's when the scheduling changes to where it's not going to be as predictable. Ole Miss is likely going to lose Vanderbilt in football. That is when the college football playoff is going to expand to 12. That is when you're going to try and make the NCAA basketball tournament for men's and women's. And your stature of your athletic program could go up and up and up. And it all starts over the next 2 months. It's going to be absolutely massive for these Ole Miss Rebel teams to start maximizing and doing what they need to do. You do not want Ole Miss baseball to end up like Mississippi State baseball. You need them to kind of pull out of this tailspin and at least make a regional this year. Obviously, they have pitching problems and everything's going on, and Vandy could be the 27 Yankees for all I know. But you need to be in a position to make a regional. You need to be in shouting distance of where you need to be. You need to make sure none of these 4 athletic programs are in a position that you have to rebuild in 2023-2024, because that year is so important for moving forward. You need to be towards the front of the line in those sports whenever they start, because this conference is about to become a bear. It just absolutely is. It's already hard. It's going to be even harder. And now that the football scheduling is going to change, and all of a sudden you're going to play every conference team every 2 years, and you're going to have 3 permanent opponents, which the rumor has it is going to be LSU, Mississippi State, and Arkansas. No more Vanderbilt. You just get them every other year. It's going to be difficult. For Lane Kiffin, he is going to have to earn every bit of that $9 million a year. For Chris Beard, he's going to have to make Ole Miss basketball something that it hasn't ever been. And Coach Yo simply has to create this Lady Rebels program and get them back to where Van Chancellor had them. I mean, these are tall orders, and these are difficult things that Ole Miss is going to have to do, but they can do them. Confidence is 95% of athletics. Athletic ability is the other, but confidence is the difference between a great and a good team, a good and a bad team, a bad and a coach getting fired is obviously the team confidence. So as a fan base, you need to understand that whenever you're talking and dealing with players and what's going on. You need to understand that. That's the reason you never hear me badmouth a player on this broadcast. Never. We'll talk about Jackson Dart and there's competition and all of this starting to, but we'll never say that Jackson Dart can't do it because he's a five-tool player. He just needs to do it. He needs to put it together. He needs to develop that confidence. He needs to figure out what's going on over the middle. He needs to grow as a quarterback. If he does that, he has every opportunity to be the QB1 in 2023. First snap against Mercer. I mean, he should be the leader in the clubhouse, honestly, right now to do that. But there's other quarterbacks on the roster. There's certain questions that need to be answered. So if that's happening at the micro level, at the player level, it's also happening at the macro level, where you're looking at overviews of exactly what's going on within the program. We are all, in every program, within spitting distance of where we want to be. We are. Football is always right on the cusp of turning the corner from being a very good program to a great one. Basketball is at the point where they're ready to turn the corner to be relevant, to be something that Ole Miss basketball has not been since the late 90s. Baseball, we're learning how to be the hunted because for the first time they are. Every SEC baseball team is going to come out wanting to win this game. For the first time in a long time, Ole Miss is kind of their Super Bowl. And Coach Yo took over an absolute dumpster fire in women's basketball and has turned them into the point where they're a mid-seeded NCAA tournament team fairly consistently and just absolutely took apart a team that is real similar to the team that took them apart last year. That's growing. They're getting to be exactly what they want to be. They have strategies of how they want to recruit. Everything is in place for them to do it. The only thing left to do is to actually do it. It's not really up to excuses anymore. Everything's there. Do it. And people need to realize that fans are going to treat college athletes different now that they are receiving money and that they are technically professional athletes because they would not be getting them that NIL money otherwise. People need to understand that that is going to be a little different. People need to understand that they're going to treat Lane Kiffin differently because now he's making $9 million in one of the poorest states in the United States of America. They're going to treat Ole Miss basketball differently because they've got one of the top 3 or 4 coaches in the country heading up their program. And they're going to treat baseball differently because baseball is now a national championship winning program. This is not your parents' Ole Miss. And the mindset that goes into what goes to supporting their athletics has changed because of that. But I talk over and over again. I've taken you down the lines and I've told you different branches and I've told you all these trees. It's because that so much is riding on the next 2 months. Basketball, football, even micro level stuff like the quarterback position. So much is on the line for this college football season. Anyway, thanks again for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. Make sure you check out our brand new podcast, Locked On College Basketball. It has everything you need to know about college basketball in one place. Plus, you get to hear from big-name experts, insiders, coaches, and players. It's Locked On College Basketball. It's available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Anyway, thanks everybody for joining us today. Tomorrow, the first day of spring practice. It's finally here. As you know, this channel really shines during football season and anything dealing with football because that's my expertise. I can talk about that, and I can talk about that, I think, fairly well. So we'll be able to keep an eye on what's going on. We have the last 3 open practices. Dalen from the Dalen Show on Twitter is going to be going to the practice, checking in with them, and watching the quarterback competition. And we're going to try and have the Grove report at the first one as well. So we're going to have people at every practice, even though I can't be there. And they're going to talk about the quarterback position and what's going on with them. So it should be really good. Anyway, hope to see everybody tomorrow. Hope you have a great week. And it is fantastic. This is absolutely one of the best times of the year. Enjoy it. Anyway, see you tomorrow.